Hello everybody. It is Saturday the 2nd of November. I want to talk about the reality of spirituality, because right now it seems that people make a division. Yeah? You're either in the solid world or you're spiritual, in which case you become a fluttering being of light. Well, that's their expectation. And I really think they've got it wrong. Now, let me start from what I said yesterday. First of all, to make the distinction between religion and spirituality. Yeah? Religion is clearly where you believe that there is a great almighty being somewhere, whether you call that a god or the creator himself or whatever, that is pulling your strings. Yeah? That is directing all the affairs. Everything is written, is predetermined. You have no free will. Yeah? You are just a puppet of something greater out there. And then you start worshipping that being. Yeah, whatever you think it is. And you're asking it, you're begging it. Give me this, give me that, or don't do this to me, don't do that to me. That is religion. Spirituality is actually a knowledge of the other layers of ourselves. If we shift consciousness into another layer of ourselves and out of that have a completely different perception of what is around us, reality has not changed at that moment. Yeah? What you are seeing at that moment has always been there. You just were not aware of it because you were in the five senses and you couldn't see it through that way of perception. And I would say when we go back now and when we look at the old teachings, yeah, I say we're going back to the Hermetics, we're going back to the Gnostics. I said in my last video, I think a lot of Gnostics, and again, you cannot say Gnostics and look at it as like one thing. There were many different groups that went different ways, and many of them were still religious. Yeah, very much so. I would say the Hermetics are probably the most scientific of all. Yeah, they really looked at that detached from religion and just looked at it as a reality that exists, and how does that reality work, and what is it we are doing in order to interact with the other realities. Yeah, I would say they were purely scientific, rational mind. No more, oh, let's worship something out there. Nothing like that. I say the Gnostics, some of them had not made that separation from religion. Many groups had not. Some did. So, but if we make the separation from religion and really go the way of the Hermetics and say this is science. This is pure science. It's a greater knowledge of ourselves, and through that, what is out there that is a reality. As much as what we know now is a reality. See, just because more exists does not make this one wrong. It exists also. Yeah, it's just becoming aware of more. That does not mean this one does not exist. So, and because after I done the video yesterday, I was wondering about Jesus. I said, what was he? Was he religious or was he spiritual? Yeah? So he brought a knowledge, and that was definitely spiritual knowledge. And that was more than fairy tales. That was a real knowledge because it actually created something solid in this world. That was a true knowledge. And as I said again, there were two ways. One is working this in this world through the connections that we naturally have with one another, with nature, with this world. and what can that knowledge work then in this world. And those were the healing, feeding, whatever, would serve us to make our experience here better. The other way, the way of the cross, was the knowledge of another world. That was actually shifting into another reality. And again, those are two distinctly different things. And people really need to see that. And again, get out of the, oh, I worship God thing. Let's try to be hermetic, rational, scientific about this. We really must. Absolutely get out of fairy tale land. So, again, I was actually accusing Jesus of being religious. Yeah, that he was worshipping a God. And he would do everything in service of that God, of that other being. And I'm wondering whether he was actually exploring, of trying to find the truth. Trying to, again, a knowledge is given means you experience it. If you have the knowledge in its fullness, you will experience it as a reality. That is the giving of knowledge. And that's what happened to him. So, he was given, and again, there's no doubt in my mind because of what he said. He was given step-by-step instructions of what to do, what to think, what to say, how to feel about it. Those are our energies, that create. So he was given step-by-step instructions what to do that would take him to the kingdom, into that other reality. And he did it. He shifted. That was the ascension. He shifted into another reality. And again, he gave the knowledge of that reality to John, and we all know it, what actually happened in that other reality, which again is not good. Christians saying let's all go there, and they say they are in a big delusion. They're actually totally deranged. That's not even a delusion anymore. They're full on deranged if they want to go there. But it is really, a knowledge is given, and then is what do you do with that knowledge? I say we have the knowledge of the atom, of splitting an atom or whatever. We can do many different things with that knowledge. Yeah, we can heat houses, we can have power stations, we can build bombs. Good and bad is not in the knowledge. It is what you do with the knowledge that creates outcomes. And then you have either good or bad. Yeah, it is in the doing that creates good and bad, not the knowledge. Again, there was one knowledge, there are different ways you could use that. And was he really in search of the truth? What is out there? Well, I'd say he found out what was out there. Now, and here's the thing, that when the shift occurs, that is something that the also spiritual really haven't got a hold on. It's bodily. That shift is bodily. Jesus went full bodily out of this reality. Now, I've thought about it. There are many other stories in this world, especially here in Ireland. Yeah? There's still this saying where we say, oh, well, people are away with the fairies. When we say it now, we mean they think or speak or do things in a way that we would think they are already slightly detached from what we would call reality. Yeah? So they're already shifting somewhat out of reality. They're not quite there. But that is the first step, to think it is possible. Now, if you look at the old stories, the really old stories about people being away with the fairies, what those stories actually talk about is a solid occurrence. They do literally disappear. Solid body disappear, shift out of this reality. That's what they do. Again, they did not turn into fluttering beings of light or anything like that. Their bodies disappeared from this reality. And in the story, some of them come back after a few years or something, and some never come back. And there's, again, stories all over the world of other beings and people disappearing. Now we're looking at alien abduction. People are disappearing. Yeah? Now, what I'm wondering is this. Now, I had meant to look up which Blinken prophet that was because I keep getting them mixed up. But I think it's Isaiah, the one that was taken up by the chariot of fire. I think it was Isaiah. See, I always get my Isaiah and my Elijah mixed up. But anyway, whichever one it was. Again, he full bodily went. There was no death. There was no dead body. There was no dead Jesus body. There was no dead prophet body. There are no dead bodies. The whole body disappears. In all the stories. Yeah? And there were those with the prophet that saw something happening. So to them, again, that was a solid reality. That was a solid reality experience. He went full bodily somewhere else. No fluttering beings of light, nothing. So they saw, some of them saw something was happening. Now I'm thinking about the alien abductions. Yeah, again, there is a solid full body experience to those who experience it, that are being abducted. And there may be others that are seeing something happening. But what I'm wondering is, would everybody see it? See, if I went there, and I'm really not in that thinking, or, I haven't thought about it in a big way. I have not even made that shift in my mind, never mind the body. That's what I'm wondering. Would everybody see it, or is that something that is seen by those that are of the same thinking? Yeah? Again, when Jesus ascended, his disciples were there that saw it. But they were in the same energy, in the same thought, in the same emotion, and, were they in a bubble, so to speak, in which that happened? That's my question. Because in the end, it is not something that is done to you. I think that is something people really have to get into the head. It is something you're doing. The shift occurs inside of yourself. Space is inside of yourself. And again, as I said, Jesus went full bodily. He did not turn into a fluttering beam of light. And he had a full body experience wherever he went. Yeah? And there again, it shows you that not every place you go to is good, because where he went was not good. Really not good. So, yeah, again, was Jesus religious? Was that out of worship of a God, or was he actually an explorer? Trying to find the truth by bodily going there himself. And then you could say it was a sacrifice, a self-sacrifice, in order to bring the truth. And then you really must see what that truth was. It was bloody board cube coming to earth, and a being that will rule over us all. That was the truth. Yeah? I don't know where people see salvation in that story, in the outcome. I don't know where they see salvation. I can't see, I see stories of angels coming slaughtering everybody around, that blood is up to the bridle of the horses. I can't, where do you see salvation? Anyway, apart from 144,000 that go into the cube. Yeah? But they are specially selected of the 12 tribes. Are you one of them? So where do you see it? I don't see it. So, yeah, again, maybe Jesus was really truly in the knowledge. And I mean in a scientific way, not in a I worship God way, but in a scientifically looking, this is reality. This can be done. I'm going to do it and find out what is there. It's possible that he did that. Now, which then leaves me to wonder about Paul. What the hell was he doing? If that was understood by all that were there, but I'm not quite sure that the fishermen actually understood what was going on, but okay, let's say they did. And Paul understood. I think Paul understood. He was a high-ranking Pharisee. Yeah? I would say he was initiated into the mysteries, but which are not mysteries, which is science. Again, go out of the airy-fairy stuff. So I would say he understood, at least to an amount, what had happened there. Yeah? So why is he going around preaching that as the only way? Yeah, we should all go there. I mean, that's Paul. Jesus actually said, love each other, give to each other, create something in this world to those that would follow me. You know, do as I did and shift into that other reality. But that was a choice. Paul did not give the choice. He said, you must be saved by Jesus. You must go that way. Yeah? And then, again, all the airy-fairy ones at more. It's the love of God. It's all done out of love. Paul was a Pharisee. Before he bumped his head off the road, he was a judge and executioner of Christians. He executed them, or had them executed brutally. That is who he was. He was not a man filled with love. Yeah? And this idea that he just bumps his head off the road and 3 days later is filled with love, not only that, filled with love for the Gentiles, that never sat right with me. Yeah? Or did he have a realization what you could actually do with that knowledge? Get rid of a few Gentiles? And here again we have the story of the bloody rapture. I'm really beginning to think that could happen. Again, there is the shift that into another, that's happening within yourself, that you are doing. You are making the shift. You are energetically making the shift. It's not done to you. You choose to believe and do according to. That's your choice. And what will happen then is what happens in all the other stories before that are in this world already. Not just Christianity, in all the cultures. People disappear. Full bodily disappear. Shift into another reality. Is that the rapture? And is the bride, are the Christians being prepared to make that shift? And they don't know what they're doing. They do not understand. And that they've been deliberately taken away from any kind of understanding you could have had, because you would have to look into the occult, into the hidden knowledge. That's all occult means, hidden. Yeah, and they're deliberately being tunnel visioned. Don't look out there because it's full of demons and you go to hell. Well, actually, earlier on in the Middle Ages, first we will brutally kill you and then you go to hell. Yeah? I mean, they're deliberately being kept from the knowledge through fear. but they're really thinking something is coming to do it to them. That, everybody is sitting waiting for something happening to them. But the very act of anticipation that something will happen and making yourself ready and believing on it and doing things in a certain way. I mean, New Agers have their rituals, what they do, what they work with crystals or whatever. You are actually doing the works that will create the shift. It's not going to be done to you. And if you look at the stories, not everything out there is good. Yeah, and it's done by love. No, I say what Paul did, for instance, teaching that was not done out of love. I can tell you that right now. I'm absolutely 100% certain out of it. That was not driven by love. That action was not driven by love. No, it's not all love and goodness. So really, I really think we need to become a lot more rational about this. And if we go into the old knowledge, that's what we really must look for, not knowledge of, Yaldabaoth, and there are archons out there, and, or there are demons out there, or there are angels out there, whatever you think is out there. Be a bit more rational. You need to be more rational about that. Yeah, there's something out there. You do not know if it's good or bad. It could be either. You're being made to make a shift. You are doing it. You are shifting your energies. It's not God doing it to you. And then when it happens, all the stories, from fairies to whatever other beings in other cultures, to Jesus going to heaven, to alien abductions, I would say it's probably all the same thing. It happens full bodily, and it is going to be a solid body experience, because that is what the giving of knowledge is. It will become a full body reality. And that is maybe something else you really want to consider. You're not turning into a fluttering being of light. You are going to be in the body. They all were in the body. Everyone that disappeared in any of the stories were in their body. And those that came back were also in the body. Again, it was already said about Jesus. Once he returned, he will return to you in the manner that he left you, in the body. And then you should really consider what you're doing and where you're going as much as you would consider it in this world, in this reality. Because in this reality, you have a solid body and you are aware that it can get hurt. Yeah, that's why you don't just step into traffic, because I can. And that it will be no different once the shift happens. And it will just be a different reality, but you will full body experience that as much as any other. That should maybe be a consideration. As I say, we need the reality of spirituality, and we need to look at it scientifically. We need to get out of fairyland, we need to get out of religion. Because those are ways by which we are being deceived. Those are ways by which we are being told stories. Stories that you tell small children. Yeah, that have no other knowledge. We are as children. We were deliberately kept as children. It's time we grew up. And here, one last thing, and that is, as I said, we already have the rapture story in Christianity, which I really am beginning to think that can happen. And those that go have no idea where they're going. But there's another thing happening at the moment that people are talking about, and that is the merger of two realities. Yeah? Is there really somebody not enough in this world, not only to prepare people to shift into another reality, that means a few thousand are going somewhere, but to bring the other reality fully here, to merge the two, to make them one. Again, folks, that is not something that has to happen, that is inevitable. It's not something that has been done by something else. I don't even think it's something that's been done by some machine somewhere. You are the machine that is doing this. It is your belief, your thoughts, your emotion that is creating this. You are the machine. You are the energy that they are using. You are the battery pack that they are using to create solid outcomes. Really, we need to wake up and we need to understand before the few that are obviously have lost touch with reality, quite literally, before they make us do something we really don't want to do. Anyway, here, I leave it at that for today, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.